What's up, everybody? Welcome to the latest episode of Sick Pieces from Enfants Riches Deprimes. It's my favorite series on the channel. I don't know why. When I get a new ERD piece in, it just feels like my life is suddenly makes sense. You know what I mean? I'm swathed in the energy of Henry Levy and his artistic vision. Swathed? That doesn't sound right. Anyway, today I have 4 t-shirts from ERD, and I've got all of them to try and answer the question, are the graphics and the t-shirts themselves as good as they used to be? You see, ERD, they burst onto the scene with these crazy, outrageous, and offensive and thought-provoking punk-inspired graphic t-shirts. And I was recently watching an interview with Henry where he was talking about the fact that to him, that is still maybe the most important part of the brand, or at least the part of the brand that continues to excite him the most as a designer. But things have definitely evolved from the early days. Henry is starting to do different things with his graphic t-shirts and taking them in different directions than just that in-your-face punk style. But is it better? Is it worse? I don't know. Let's find out. Hey y'all, in case you missed it, I have a new Instagram. My last one got banned, whatever, it doesn't matter. My new Instagram is @lowluxuryclothing. Go follow me there, I post cool stuff. And I also made a Threads, which is connected to Instagram. So yeah, @lowluxuryclothing, see you there. So we'll be trying these pieces on at the end, but first let's look through these one by one. First up here is the ERD Records t-shirt in black. And by the way, we're going to be working our way up. This is, I think, the most basic piece of the 4, and each one, in my opinion, gets better than the last, so stay tuned. Anyway, the ERD Records piece. The front, incredibly simple. You just have a logo at the front, whereas the back, you get kind of their interpretation of, I think, what a record cover would look like from the brand. You have this kind of cartoonish print, a lot of text, some sort of branding, address, talking about the track listing, essentially. And this, it really does look like sort of 80s hardcore punk art in a nutshell, and they've really captured that vibe incredibly well. Now, this t-shirt, along with all the others we're looking at today, are their classic paper-thin cotton t-shirts. These are my absolute favorite types of pieces from ERD because they just drape the body really well. You would not believe it. I mean, I guess you will. You'll see it, and you've seen it before on this channel if you've watched my other videos, which you should. Get subscribed. Check out all the ERD videos. But they just have a great fit, and this one, for a basic tee, has a great look as well. Now, this next tee I find really exciting. This is the Reality is Optional t-shirt. So this has so much going on here. You can see that it's white, but also you'll note that there's this kind of brushing or staining on it. The most prominent one is yellow that you get around here, but you'll also get some straight up orange, lipstick colored stuff, peach colored, going on along this one sleeve right here, which is super interesting. Then the print itself is mostly black, but you also have this kind of scrawled, handwritten green as well going around the edges. And what I really like about this piece is that you've got the front, but then at the back, you actually have the same graphic, but flipped upside down. And there's one really interesting element that's been added for the back, which is these flecks of dark red. I'm gonna assume they're meant to be blood stains here. And this, it gives the piece a story, actually. The front, you've got it one way, and then the back is flipped, and with this extra element that gives it this kind of creepiness and eeriness to it that I really like. So you can see we're starting to level it up here, once again playing with kind of punk aesthetics in terms of the graphic construction, but there are a lot of additions being made here with the treatment that was just not present in those early days when you were really looking at distressed, straightforward, black on white graphic tees. Next up, we're back to black, and this one is just a slightly darker wash than the Records tee. That was so lightly washed that it was almost closer to like a brown or something, but this is a slightly deeper black. There's still a very like vintage type of wash. This is the ERD Rose logo shirt. You've got this massive, massive rose print at the front in this kind of like cracked, faded white print. Again, the wash does wonders here. I'm sure this thing has been tumbled to hell and back. And then what I really like, coming from the punk hardcore music scene myself, is at the very bottom you have the enfant print in that black flag font. I'm not sure how many people know that. I'm sure probably if you're an ERD fan, you're more likely to know it than not. But I do really like that. It goes back to the earliest days of the brand when they did the Black Flag rip-off t-shirts and tank tops and things. So kind of hearkening back or referencing that here is awesome. And then bringing in the rose, which is a visual motif that the brand has used consistently for quite a few seasons now, I think ties it all together incredibly well. And finally, we have my favorite of this bunch, which is this heavily, heavily treated boys smoking t-shirt. Now, they did make a version of this shirt, which is more of a beige colorway, and it's just this straight graphic. But I really like this one because I think it shows how ERD is taking their graphic style and just continuing to level it up with how they're treating the t-shirts in different ways. Now, obviously, the kind of standout part of this shirt is the graphic itself. It is clearly very off-putting, not something that you would ever want to see in real life, but neither are a lot of ERD graphics, and it does really stick with you when you see it. Also, like, they've got a kind of joy in their faces, which is unexpected and interesting, and I don't know, I remember smoking at like 14 years old, and that's probably how I felt. I felt like I was king of the world, you know what I mean? Not that it's necessarily a good thing, but here's what they've done. You've got all this black and blue all over, especially around the sleeves, the bottom of the front, and then just all over the back. And it almost looks like it's been run over by various like tires and things coated in ink. And again, ERD early on, this would have been it. The graphic right here would have been the shirt, and I think Henry would have been happy with that, and he would have felt like it achieved its goal. But now he's introducing these other elements here and other textures that are enhancing the language that ERD is working within in new and interesting ways. And while I can totally see why some people prefer those early, like, dead porn star type graphics, I find these more interesting, and at the very least, I'm happy to see that they're continuing to evolve the design language of the brand, even when it comes to the quote-unquote simple graphic t-shirts that are that kind of core base layer of the designer. So now that we've looked at all that, it is time to try these pieces on. I'm super excited for this. I think they're gonna look good. And for the fit, we have a few elements that we're gonna be throwing in here as well. For the shoes, we have these glittered Guidi boots. We've got another video on the channel about these. I love them. The pants are gonna be Balenciaga black cropped jeans. The jacket is a Balenciaga leather jacket from 2018, which I absolutely love. It has some really insane details there. And also I'd say is actually quite similar to a lot of the leather jackets that ERD does. So I think they mesh really well. And finally, we have a bunch of jewelry from ERD as well as chrome hearts to kind of pull everything together. So without further ado, let's try these 4 t-shirts on. that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you can see that the ERD graphic tees, they really are still the beating heart of the brand, and they're continuing to push that kind of product category further and evolve it, which we always love to see. So take a look at the other video on screen here, subscribe to my channel, like this video, and I'll see you next time.